to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Please note the council's in full attendance. I want to welcome everyone here to our special meeting, and by special meeting, I mean it's not a normally scheduled meeting night. It's due to our adopting the budget process, which we have a series of meetings, a lot of meetings actually, as council knows, to properly adopt tax rate and budget, et cetera. I want to welcome all the citizens here too. I know we have some new ones here, so you're welcome to come back at any time. We enjoy having people come to our meetings. So our first item on the agenda is items from council.
Couple of things.
Go right ahead.
There was a meeting Friday afternoon with the neighborhood at Swan Crossing, and they requested a couple of things. One of them was the stop sign at Swan and Whistling. If y'all can check to see if there was a possibility of putting one there. I didn't see one. I took a picture, but I don't remember. And another one is the lights that they're always complaining about. I always thought was on Swan Street, but it's on Hanselman. We have a sidewalk on the, behind that wall, that fence, and they can't utilize it because there's no lighting back there. So they requested those two things, if I could bring them up. Okay? I appreciate it.
I had something. This past Saturday, in the late afternoon and early evening, First United Methodist Church hosted something called Child Fest. It was a kind of a children's free activity. I was involved in it, and so I'm aware of it. The city was involved in giving a permit for a street closure, and that procedure was very simple. So I appreciate that. And this is really just to thank the city, to thank especially the police and the fire department. They made available a fire truck and an ambulance and a police car, and the sheriff was there with the sheriff's car. Everything was open, and a lot of the folks that run those, the firemen, the police department, were there answering questions. We have some impressive equipment, some impressive people, and they were there in that hot sun for quite a while. And so I want to thank all of them. Thank the city.
Wonderful. Isn't National Night Out coming up?
First Tuesday in October.
Kickoff is different this year. Is it Community Center or the,
That's the 24th? 4th? Okay.
okay, didn't mean to put you on the spot. I know it's on my calendar, but, okay. We've done it differently year over year. So. Other items from council? If not, I had one item. I wanted to take the opportunity, I know we have visitors here tonight, and I'm very happy to see that. And most of our agenda is pretty routine, everything we've had before. It's just, we're going through the process. But the hot fund stuff, the disbursement came up last meeting. We have a lot of visitors here for that. So I thought I'd go over a few things about it, just to put us all on the same page. It's always good to help and the people that watch on TV, the meetings, and to learn a little bit. So I asked city attorney some questions today. We weren't sure when the state created hot funds. I don't know if anybody here knows. The state of Texas, created that law that allows municipalities to adopt a local hotel tax. And I think most cities in Texas have. I don't know. I see Mr. Knight sitting up there. I don't know if he knows. He was on council for many years. He's shaking his head no. Actually, the city of Victoria adopted it in 1970. I had no idea. I thought it was in the late 80s. So it's a 13% tax, so a $100 room. So the city would get $7 and the state would get $6. So that's 7%, 6% split. So just an example of a $100 room, makes it simple. This next year for 2017, we forecast about 1.3 million, a little over that. And that's a forecast. We're hoping we make all that. We hope we have those hot funds and those people come stay in our hotels. To put that in comparison to prior years, some of you know we almost got to $2 million a few years ago. We had quite a bit of it coming in. And due to decline in tourism or the oil industry primarily, we're looking to about 1.3 million next year. Most of that goes to the CVB budget to run the Convention and Visitors Bureau, about $690,000. We do about $330,000 operating for the community center, okay? And about 150,000 of it goes to the capital fund for the community center because, it needs a roof repair or an air conditioning repair. So we accumulate those funds there. And then, of course, we do the disbursement to outside agencies. Now, that's not required, but that's what we do. We choose to. I don't know, some communities may or may not. Other large cities will add on a little tax to help fund like a big arena or, obviously, Houston, San Antonio have large stadiums and things, and they do add a little bit for that. We obviously do not do that. The process of dispersing it, and I've been here, I guess, 12 years, 13 years. Tom, you've been here about 14?
No, 12.
12, you're just about a year longer than me, I know that, okay. The process of dispersing those funds has improved dramatically. Matter of fact, Mr. Knight's sitting out there, when you were sitting next to me over there, you remember that it was a little chaotic 10, 12 years ago, to be honest. The different entities basically lobbied council members, so we got tons of phone calls, and, oh, we deserve this money, you should do this. So we improved it so much. We got an outside committee put together. And of course, the application process with Mr. Gush facilitates. And each year we have made changes. And, I did have some communication with people who said that you did an outstanding job. They really appreciated like the initial meeting you'll have where you explain everything. And this year we actually did add a scoring criteria. The members of the committee put a number to, I think it's 4 different or 5 different criteria? 4?
4 different criteria.
And including, number of room nights and stuff. And there is the primary, and Mr. Gush can correct me, the primary objective is to those that promote the community. The actual room nights not necessarily is a primary objective, although it is important. And that was included in your criteria this year. So everything was scored and ranked and averaged together. So it went, by all reports, very well. Now, I know Comic-Con, this is third year for you guys? Fourth? Well, no, for the funding from us, yeah, third. I know in 2014, when y'all first applied, you did not get any award, and so we changed the committee's recommendation. You got 10,000, and that was, and one of the other entities, the film festival, gave up some of their money willingly, and that was a wonderful thing. And then 2015, you got 18,100 from my notes, and then this year, the 12,770, which was reduced down to 10. So that's just some background information for council. I know, Ricky, you're very new to all this, so I don't know if that helped, but want to get us all on the same page. Any change to that? When we get to that item, of course, everyone can speak. I would encourage you to. That's fine. When we get to the item in the agenda where the budget, that's the only place it would change, and it would take a motion by one of you to change it if you want. So the vote was 5-2 last time to amend it. I'll make that clear. Unless someone here wants to change their vote, then that's the process that we would go through at that time. So I just wanted to do that, lay that out a little bit. No further items from council. Kalpaska?
Yeah, I was wondering how we had a whole bunch of 5-0 votes, according to the Advocate last time in their newspaper report, when there were no absences last time.
I don't know. We'll make sure he gets that information correctly tonight. Okay, nothing further, citizens communication? Excuse me, items from council. We'll move into citizens communication for everyone who wants to speak, and we certainly encourage that. What we try to do as a courtesy to everyone is limit you to 5 minutes, if you could. You don't have to use the whole 5 minutes, but you'll need to come forward, state your name and address for our record, and try to conclude at 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, Council. My name is Megan Booth. I'm at 305 Palmwood Drive. You guys know I'm the promoter of VCC, and all I'm here tonight is to ask that the Council respect the Hot Fund Committee's decision and award us the full original allocation of $12,770. As elected officials, I just feel as though the top priority would be bettering the community. Deducting our funding is doing absolutely nothing positive for the community. It's only punishing the thousands of people who come from all over to attend. So please base your decisions on the merits of Victoria Comic-Con and the impact that we have on the local community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Citizens communication is still open for anyone who'd like to speak.
My name is Selena Milstead. I am the interim director at the Children's Discovery Museum. My address is P.O. Box 232, Port Lavaca 77979. And as I stated, I'm the interim director at the museum, and I just felt that since we were mentioned in this this amendment for the allocation of funds, that I should come and speak on behalf of the museum. Let you guys know what's going on with the museum right now. It's an exciting time right now. We are in the process of renovating the Playhouse Theater, and we are just this close to securing some funding to complete our construction. As you know, we had a delay due to a funding shortfall, but we are very close to securing funding for that, and we are tentatively expecting that we will be able to open in the spring of 2017. And that being said, our plan is to bring in the traveling exhibits, which will promote tourism as well, and connect that with the opening of the museum. The traveling museum traveling exhibit that we applied for is called the Storyland exhibit, and it brings to life literacy and art in life-size form of 7 storybook favorites, storybooks that a lot of older people will be most familiar with, but even younger kids. And so it's going to engage the children and the adults as well. And it's going to promote literacy and love for art, and in a very interactive, exhibit setting. So that being said, I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on with the museum, and we'll be happy with whatever decision is made. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Vandale, 1903 Loma Vista. I'm here to speak for Victoria Comic Con. I don't see why, when Megan voiced her opinion and her concerns, that funds were reduced. Everybody has the right to their own opinion, as well as y'all up here on the council. But it seems like she got penalized or punished for voicing it. Now, it's almost on the borderline of intimidation, because she spoke out, and on a hasty decision, the funds were cut. Now, I know when y'all campaigned, y'all talked about welcoming value of the people of Victoria's opinion and concerns. Well, obviously, she made her opinion and her concerns, and y'all value council people's opinions and concerns more. So what you need to really think about, and I hope that you do, is when you made them promises when you were campaigning to welcome these opinions and concerns, stand by it. Not just value council people or the city of Victoria's opinions and concerns more than what you campaigned, promised people of Victoria. So it's up to y'all, on your decision, whether reinstate or not, if you're going to stand true to the campaign promises that y'all made when you wanted to get elected. And if it goes to show that you take council's opinion more value than people of Victoria, then it just proves y'all just wanted the votes, because you're not standing by. So I'll ask you to keep an open mind, think about it. Victoria Comic Con is the biggest event in the 27 years I lived in Victoria than any event that's happened here. And whether they come from 30 miles, 300, or 3,000 miles, it's going to get bigger. And the only way they could do is by bringing bigger celebrities in and filling more hotel rooms. If somebody comes from 300 miles away and they talk to somebody else, they'll bring them along. That's more hotel rooms or heads in the beds. So I'm asking you to reinstate the $2,770 and give them a chance, because they are young, but they're making something better for Victoria. So I'm asking you, please reinstate and think about it and dig deep. and make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vendel.
Hi, I'm Michael Sudheimer. My address is 104 Abbey Drive, apartment 127. I'm just here in support of Brian and Megan and VCC. How you doing, Mr. Plosick?
Good to see you. I didn't recognize you
You
with the
too.
beard there, Mike.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to maybe list some positive aspects to hopefully make y'all reconsider awarding them the original amount of HOP funds. It's a family-oriented event, I think, that all ages can enjoy. Not just kids or adults, really, they can bring the whole family and everyone can have fun there. I'm sure some people see Comic-Con as a bunch of adults wearing costumes, which may seem ridiculous to some, but it's really not much different than a sports fan wearing their favorite player's jersey, I think. And I think it's an event that brings diversity to Victoria that it lacks sometimes, especially for younger people. It gives them something to do. And me personally, I've witnessed firsthand people coming from out of town, even out of state, to come to the convention, meeting them there and speaking with them. And I think that's great for the community, because a lot of people that do attend Comic-Cons, events like that, they attend multiple ones. Like, there's one in San Antonio and Houston, and once you go to one convention, you usually want to go to some other ones. And that's it. I just ask that you please reconsider giving them the full amount of HOP funds. I think VCC is an event that is really beneficial to the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sudheimer. Communication still open for anyone who would like to speak? Give everybody a chance. Don't want to cut anybody off. Okay. Seeing no one jump up. Oh, that's okay. Come on up. Don't be shy.
I apologize. How does this work?
Name and address and tell us what you're thinking. That's all.
Okay, my name is Steve Koza. I live at 405 Ashland Creek here in Victoria. And I apologize, I was a little late. I drove in, I work in San Antonio 3 days out of the week. So I was really trying to get here as fast as I could so I wasn't tardy. So I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what's been said so far. I've come myself to support the Victoria Comic-Con. As the gentleman before me said, there are many events in towns. There are many events in other places. People expect a certain type of person to go to Comic-Cons. You all look at me up here. I'm probably some of y'all's ages. I'm 47. I'm an established manager of a non-destructive testing company for the oilfield services. I'm a veteran, and I am a geek, an absolute 100% geek. If anyone in this room can tell me they haven't heard of William Shatner, I would challenge you, because he's pretty much one of the biggest sci-fi names in history. When I saw this on Facebook, and I've seen this kind of all around, I don't know how things happen politically here and there, but here's one thing I do know. I have children. I have a family. I frequent as many Comic-Cons as I can. Personally, I know some of the things to address are how much money could it provide to the community. When I go to Dallas, when I go to Houston, when I go to San Antonio, my family and I drop anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 into that local area, especially when I have to stay out of town. A big draw is a lot of the icons that some of us grew up with. Meeting them, getting autographs, things like that. Not a big drinker. I don't do crime. There's a lot of things I don't engage in. But when it comes to meeting icons that I grew up with, I'll go to the town, I'll spend the money. It's also a positive influence for myself and a lot of people, my kids. I personally, and I'm not trying to bash any other event, I have had employees miss work because they've gotten into fights at Boot Fest, at Yorktown, the Pioneer Days, several of events around the communities that surround us. You just don't have that at a Comic-Con. Spider-Man and Captain America aren't gonna go out and do shots and go at it. But like I said, I've had my business affected by guys partaking at some of these other events, and you just don't have that when it comes to a family-oriented event like Comic-Con. Again, I don't know the details, I don't know the monies. All I do know is that the bigger names that get drawn into a Comic-Con, the bigger actors, the bigger actresses, it's gonna grow. I volunteered this last year at Comic-Con. I helped work the door. I met people from as far away as southern Oklahoma to come down and meet some of the people that were present. And the only way we're gonna get bigger, more pronounced names, if you will, is if we culture it, if we grow it, if we cultivate the community around it. And I know it's a small part of the community, but when guys like me who make, you know, I think a positive influence with the employees that I hire, the work that I do around the community, the influence that I give my children and they give to the community, it's just positive all the way around, in my opinion. So like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of the finances, the hot funds, whatever. I know that's y'all's business, but I want to stand up here as a citizen. It's a good event. I enjoy it. I don't know if I recognize anybody last year at the door, but it draws people from all around the state and a couple other states that are close by. So I see my time's going. I appreciate your time. Sorry I rushed in. That's why I'm a little out of breath because I didn't know if it was the right building. But ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to share your opinion with us. Okay, citizens' communications still open. We've heard from a handful of people, so if anyone else wants to come forward, now would be the time. Okay. Seeing no one get up, we're going to close citizens' communication. Appreciate the comments. We're going to move into the rest of our agenda.
Item C1 is an ordinance amending Chapter 24 of the Victoria City Code related to fees to increase fees for various services or permits administered by the Development Services Department, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for publication, codification, and savings, and declaring an effective date.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Motion is second. Are there any questions? And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Passes. C2.
C2 is an ordinance amending Chapter 24 to modify city park rental fees and fees related to services provided by the Parks and Recreation Department, repealing conflicting parts of existing ordinances, providing for codification and savings, and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to approve C2?
Second.
Okay, motion and seconded. Any questions?
I have a question. Okay. These fees that we have for, let's say I want to rent the community center on a Sunday. I'm going to pay the $575 plus the $425 to tear down. And are we still paying a down payment on that? We're going to add the table and chairs, I know, but are we still going to do a down payment since we're going to have to pay it off earlier?
The way that we're proposing is that there is a 25% down payment,
Uh-huh.
and then there is the damage deposit afterwards.
So the damage deposit, I'm trying to get this feel for our church, so I'm trying to figure out, okay, I know we'll have a contract right now, which is, but these fees are gonna affect us. So I have the dome I have the dome usage, then I have the setup, the tear down and the setup. Then we're gonna rent the tables and chairs.
Right.
And then we're gonna have a down payment and a deposit?
That's correct. There's a 25% of all of the rental spaces and the chairs down payment, and then a flat fee deposit for damages. Am I saying that correctly, Sharmell?
You are,
Okay.
and the deposit is returned if there's no
Yes.
damage.
Right, I understand that, but, because we're having to book it, 2 or 3 years in advance? So if I do that, I'm going to be giving you a deposit and a security deposit and the down payment at the same time?
There is not a security deposit. It is just a damage deposit.
Okay.
And then there's the 25% down payment.
And there's no, there's really no changes. You've been doing the percent for to have the contract and the damage. The only thing that's changed here is the down payment has got to be made at the time the contract is entered into instead of 3 days later. Or is
That's
it
correct.
3 days later? It's got to be done at the time. So
Right.
the only thing that's really changed with the deposit is the time when you have to do it at the time the contract's entered into and not 3 days later.
Right, you're doing it up front when you sign the contract.
Okay, just one,
That's what's changed there.
okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, passes. C3.
Item C3 is an ordinance amending the 2015-2016 City of Victoria wastewater budget to transfer $246,902.50 for the reconstruction of a portion of Southwest Bend Jordan Street between Hand Road and Bottom Road, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for savings, and declaring an effective date.
I move to
Motion.
adopt. Sorry.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any questions? I drove that the other day, I believe, with city manager, so yes, it needs it.
We didn't have to increase the days? We're still keeping the same completion date, although we're increasing it that much?
On the road or
Yes,
the
ma'am.
actual,
Well, it says the completion date is still June the 5th.
This change order, as it is right now, does not extend any calendar days. There probably will be some additional rain days and that sort of thing added at some point as we go along with the whole plant project. But this change order is a change order to a road reconstruction project, so there's no additional days being added.
and the plant's on schedule.
Plan is on schedule, yes.
Did that get your question?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, any other questions? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, passes. And the next three have public hearings attached to them.
That's correct. Item C4 is an ordinance approving and adopting a budget for operating the municipal government of the City of Victoria for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2016 and ending September 30th, 2017, appropriating money for the various funds and purposes of such budget, including appropriations of money to pay interest and principal sinking fund requirements on all indebtedness, repealing all conflicting ordinances and appropriations, providing for savings, and declaring an effective date.
Go ahead and open the public hearing on C4 now. You can speak, the public hearing is specifically related to the budget, which is actually pretty broad because everything's in the budget. So I'll open that public hearing now, and you can come forward and say anything you would want to say about the budget. Okay, seeing no one get up, we'll close the public hearing on the budget, and I'll entertain a motion.
Move we adopt?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion on the budget?
Yes.
Elise?
I have an amendment for the CM1 and the C4, or well, we used to call them CM1s. It doesn't match the resolution or the ordinance. There's some figures that need to be adjusted to match, so Gilbert gave us a printout.
Are you looking to adjust the numbers on the CM1 or the numbers on the resolution?
On the
ordinances?
ordinance, on the ordinance.
If I understand, you're looking at the first column of that.
The proposed budget column. Yes,
That's
sir.
right. And those were the numbers that were originally proposed back in August. Right?
Yes, August 16th,
August the 2nd.
August 2nd, okay.
Right. And so you'd like to amend those numbers to match what?
The Exhibit 1 that we got in our paperwork today.
Very good.
I'll have that figured out. Would you tell us on this side what you're talking
Okay.
about?
The debt service fund, that should be 10,403.80, 10,403,484, and it's got 10,872,172, so that needs to be corrected.
That would change it to the number that is already in the revised
revised,
budget
yes, sir.
column. That's correct. Okay.
And then the capital project fund has to be adjusted. It's got 11,278,019, and Needs to be 4,077,706. And on the community center, the second page, that 786,935 should be the 869,35.
Can we do as presented in this?
Yeah, I was going to suggest,
Just
just make sure the
The
far right
total.
column is what you vote on today,
the
to
118,
make things
690.
simple.
That's right.
I'm sorry if that appears confusing to the public, but this is the budget. It's a very comprehensive document. And up to the last minute, we often have minor tweaks, and that's what we did. Forgive me, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, no, it's okay.
You made a motion to amend.
To reflect Exhibit 1 figures of 118,693, 861.
Do we have a second on that?
Yes, I second it.
Okay, yeah, we need a second on that one. So, okay. Everyone good with that?
I'm just,
Ms. Scott, you want to look at it for a few minutes?
well, it's
Okay.
just that I thought the C4 in the packet had that same number that you just said, so.
It does, just that on the ordinance on the left-hand column, that's what Ms. Solis is talking about.
I see.
I'm just saying, just make sure the far right column is voted on.
Far right column has the same
Because-
number in both
Yeah, exactly.
places.
Right. For members of the public who may not be seeing these documents in front of them, the ordinance contains two columns of numbers. One of them is the original numbers that were proposed back on August, what was the date?
Second.
Second, thank you. And then it contains a second column that is revised, including all of the changes that have been made along the way. And as I understand Ms. Solis's amendment, she's seeking to provide clarity by making those two numbers match.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the amendment to the budget. Is there any questions or further discussions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign? Okay. So the item has been amended, the budget has been amended. Further discussion? I have a couple points, but I'll defer to you guys if y'all want to go first. I don't have any amendments, but. Okay, I just want to make a few comments about the Boot Fest budget in here. And specifically, some of the speakers tonight, their requests about the Comic-Con portion of the hot funds. You know, the budget, as I held up here a minute ago, tired of lugging around, it's $118 million, and it outlines every single expenditure down to the penny of everything, from every payroll, every department, to every project. So it's very comprehensive. Before I forget, I want to thank staff tremendously for the work. How many, about 5 months out of the year?
Start in January.
You start in January, and I believe of all the entities in the area, we do the most professional budget that goes to staff and department heads.
Finance department.
Finance department.
Incredible job.
And I have looked at other budgets, you know, school district, county, et cetera. Not that they don't do they do a fine job, but I think we do the best. I'm a little biased. But with respect to Boot Fest, you know, there is no money from hot funds in the 2017 budget for Boot Fest. Okay? We have funded that with about $100,000 a year. And out of that $100,000 a year, we made up the difference at the end of the year. For example, it cost $53,000 in hot funds. So obviously, there's 47 left. Well, we have let that accumulate over the years, and it's a little over 200,000 now. So going forward, we don't expect to have to pull any more money for a while. I'm sure we can, hopefully if Boot Fest is fairly successful, which I think it will be, you know, it'll get closer to break even. Although I know break even's not the overall goal. A good event for the public is the primary goal. Hopefully we should not have to pull any more money for a number of years out of the hot fund proceeds for that. Last year, we had an average of estimate of 30,000 people for that 2 or 3 day event. So it's a big event. So to put it into perspective, our out-of-pocket hot funds cost was about $53,000. I want to make that very clear. With respect to Comic-Con, I mean, I so appreciate the energy and enthusiasm of the young folks. I got to tell you, You may be surprised, but I attended a Star Trek convention probably before some of you were born, believe it or not. So yeah, I'm kind of a nerd myself, and I get it, and it's a great event. It's wonderful for Victoria, and I hope that Megan and Brian, the organizers, and everyone that helps with that can put this $2,700 into perspective, and I hope that you'll continue the event. I hope this year's is the best ever, and that you'll consider next year, and you will apply for hot funds, and I hope that the committee will recommend some for you next year. We always have that balancing act that we have to do, you know. Every entity is a great entity. Children's Discovery Museum is a great entity. It's a very difficult decision. That's why we have the committee help us. So with that, I'll stop. I'll close there. I appreciate all the comments tonight. Council, do y'all have any further discussion on the budget? All right, seeing none, we do have a motion and a second on the budget as amended, correct? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign? Okay, item passes. Thank you. C5.
C5 is a resolution ratifying the property tax revenue increase reflected in the budget for operating the municipal government of the city of Victoria for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2016 and ending September 30th, 2017, as required by Texas Local Government Code Section 102.007C, and declaring an effective date.
There's a public.
There's a public hearing, yeah. If anyone would like to speak to item C5 specifically, the tax rate, now would be the time to come forward. No one jump up. We'll close the public hearing on C5, and I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second on the tax, that is the tax revenue increase. Oh, the tax rate, C6, excuse me, the ratification. No discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay. 6.
C6 is an ordinance setting the tax rate at a total rate of $0.5892 per $100 of property valuation and levying a tax upon all property subject to taxation within the city of Victoria tax year for the use and support of the municipal government of the city of Victoria, providing for the assessment and collection of taxes, apportioning said levy among the various funds and items for which the revenue must be raised, including providing a sinking fund for the retirement of bonded debt of the city, providing for penalties and interest for delinquent taxes as prescribed by the Texas Tax Code, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for savings, and declaring an effective date.
We have a public hearing on C6, so I'll open the public hearing on that item, the tax rate. If anyone would like to speak to that item, now would be the time. Close the public hearing, seeing no one get up, and I'll entertain a motion.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the tax rate. Is there any discussion?
I think your comment from last time is worth repeating again.
I agree. I was going to do that. If this is the effective tax rate. It is not a tax increase or a tax decrease. It brings the same amount of revenue as last year. So that's what the definition of the effective tax rate is. So just want to make that clear. And if anyone ever is curious about it, it's a very complicated formula. And I know our finance director would be happy to walk you through it. He's walked me through it. Not that I'm second guessing his work, but just making sure. But we appreciate all the work your department does. Okay, any further questions? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay.
Second.
And our city manager would like to
I would,
make a
just since
comment.
we're finished with the budget. So I want to thank you for the time that you spend, because it's a lot of meetings in a very short period of time. We talk about, staff works on this starting in January, so we work on it quite frequently. We deal with this every day. We ask you to take it and go through it in a 6-week time period. The mayor shows that budget book. It's a thick document, and I know you all study it, and I appreciate the time you take, because as I said before, at the beginning of the budget process, this is one of the most important decisions you make every year. It gives us our roadmap for 2017, and we're looking forward to it, and that'll be here in a couple of weeks. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, well said. So we do not have a consent agenda. We do have one resolution.
Resolution item E1 is a resolution approving additive change order number 1 to the 2015-16 Rehabilitation Overlay Project to add the reconstruction of a portion of Southwest Bend Jordan Street between Hand Road and Bottom Road in the amount of $246,902.50, bringing the new contract amount to $3,962,174.50, authorizing the Director of Public Works to execute the change order and declaring an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there questions? So we moved the money a while ago with the budget amendment. Now we're doing the resolution to get the work started. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign? Okay. Item passes. We have no city manager reports and no work session, no executive session? Well, that concludes our business. So, thank you, everyone. We're adjourned.